we have to stay woke. Like everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
Attorney General in California, and she was the senator from California. I really don't know much of what she did.
I'm not sure I know enough about her accomplishments to answer that question.
The way that she carries herself.
She was Attorney General in her state. She moved up to becoming, the Vice President of the United States. So she has definitely she's definitely made her stamp in history of being the first African-American female vice president, and soon to be first vice president as a woman of color.
What turned me into a Trump fan? No. It's not about being a fan. You understand? It's about who has better policies and who has worse policies. If we're comparing the two, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and be a damn do-boy for the Democrats. The Democrats' policies are horrible. For Black people, for Foundation of Black Americans, let's keep it a thou. The Democrats' policies are horrible. Not only are their policies horrible, when you have the candidate Kamala Harris come out and straight up and down tell us what the hell she ain't going to do, my support is gone. If Trump said the things that Kamala and Biden has said to Black people, y'all would be out here acting a fool about it. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a do-boy for the damn Democrats. If I see something foul, it's foul. I'm not going to act like it ain't foul. Joe Biden getting out here saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. You know how disrespectful that is? Imagine if Trump said that. Biden, Kamala, they've been disrespecting us from the get-go. They've done nothing but disrespect us.
Demon rats have done nothing but disrespect all Americans. Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Today, I've got Donald Trump is soaring in the polls. Yes, his support is growing more and more and more amongst Black Americans. It really is. Before we get back into the video, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Now let's get back into it.
Battleground States and leading by 1 point nationally. It's a lead that President Biden never had. He was 5 points down when he left the race.
We've got a reset in the presidential race. Look at the numbers here. 1 point edge nationally for Harris. That's an edge Joe Biden never had. Remember, he was down 5 to Donald Trump when he was the nominee, and it's even across the key battlegrounds. Now, here's the reason why. You're looking at Dems now closing the turnout gap. More Democrats saying they are definitely going to vote. They had lagged Republicans on that measure through most of this campaign. Specific parts of the Democratic coalition. Let me show you this. Black voters now a big increase in the number who say they are going to vote. Turnout matters here, and they are more enthusiastic with Harris as the nominee. Well, let's show you the women's vote, because that's a central part of the Democratic coalition, too. Harris doing better with women than Joe Biden had. But look at this on whose policies would help women. Harris's policy, 70% of women say that they would, much more than they say that about Donald Trump. Now, another thing, though, what hasn't changed about this race? And that is the economy. Take a look at whether or not voters think that their policies, either candidate would make them financially better off. Donald Trump still has a big edge on that, just like he did against Joe Biden. And in a similar way, you see Donald Trump still has an edge on whose policies would decrease border crossing. So key issues there still underpin some of Donald Trump's support. That's the latest from our new CBS News poll.
It kind of tickled me, honestly, when the women say that Donald Trump's policies would hurt women more. And women on the left, when they're young women on the left, seemingly care more about abortion than anything else, unaliving an unborn child. That's their biggest thing. Every time I've heard a liberal young woman say why they support the left, is the first thing out of their mouth. It's abortion. It's always abortion. It's like, what is it about having the ability to unalive your own unborn child that makes you think that will make your life better? What is not talked about enough is the fact that going through an abortion makes a lot of women depressed. They are very saddened by the fact that they did that to their child. That is not talked about. It's talked about like it's a solution to your issues, to your problems, when in actuality, it could cause more problems. I've talked to women who've had abortions and they regret it to this day, even though it's been decades before. So don't think that it's some kind of a solution. So that's what they're more concerned about. And I don't trust these polls. Let's just say that. I mean, the demon rats are going to come out and try to make it look like, oh, and it's still in the honeymoon phase anyway. When it gets down to economics and the border, those are the two top things that we're going to be voting on: the border and the economy. And Donald Trump always scores better in those areas. The areas that they're talking about, those things do not affect everyday life. The things that affect everyday life are the things that when we go to the grocery store, when we put gas in our cars. Yes, and speaking of gas, we will have a choice between gas or electric. There are no mandates. There's no push to get a certain type of car. Donald Trump always said that. Just know this: Donald Trump's support among Black Americans has really gone way up than all the other Republican candidates for president ever.
Why Donald Trump? For me, okay, back in 2016, I flew from Tokyo, Japan, where I live, to come back here to make sure I voted for Donald Trump. He's not your average politician. He's a guy that makes mistakes, that say things that are stupid, because we all do stupid things. We do crazy things. The Black community don't know what Donald Trump did for Black people. Trump is a business person, and I like the way he negotiates. And he when we had him as president, we didn't have a lot. We had respect. America was respected. He is definitely looking out for the best interest of America. I mean, that is without a doubt. I just hate that it takes Black people so long to even wake up to come around to it.
I got to say amen to that. It took us forever. And some of us still. I just did a video on Jamal Truelove, who was the man that was framed by Kamala Harris's office back in 2008 for murder that he did not commit, and he was later freed from it. Do you not? This man probably got out of prison at around 2014 or 2015. Do you know that in 2020, saying that he's supporting Biden and Harris? This was in August of 2020. Just a few years after he was released from prison, where he should not have gone in the first place because of Kamala Harris, but yet he supported Biden and Harris instead of Trump. Oh my gosh, it would have been better if he had either not voted for Trump, or just vote in another name or something, but just not support the one who actually got you put in prison for something you did not do. The Stockholm syndrome is real. Can you believe that? It is insanity to me. And so some people are just going to, and maybe that man was just talking. Maybe somebody had him do that because they're trying to rewrite her history, trying to sanitize things to make it look like it's not so bad. But if people vote, I just got to ask, what's the problem? Are we losing it? I mean, what is going on? Why would anybody support this woman? Why? She doesn't answer questions. She cackles all the time. She talks and says those silly word salads that nobody even knows what she's talking about. It makes no sense to me. And when I saw this about Jamal Truelove, it just literally floored me. Like, that is absolutely the definition of total insanity. And I mean no disrespect to him, but I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make sense to you? I mean, I'll link it at the end of this video so you'll know what I'm talking about, but he actually supported the woman who had him put away. Please, somebody make it make sense. I just don't know. Whew, that is insane. I told my husband about it. He was like, what? He would never do that. Never. And Jamal Truelove described how Kamala Harris was laughing and snickling when he was at his hearing and sentencing, and he didn't think it was funny. If that's true, then why did you support her a few years later? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go off on a rant, but that makes absolutely no sense. I do agree with this man here that why would it take Black people so long in America to finally start waking up? I mean, I know about the Iron Triangle. I know about, the Democrats came up with this clefty lefty way, really an ingenious way, in an evil, ingenious way of trapping Black people onto this Democrat plantation, literally, because they're the party of welfare and they want to give you just enough to survive, just like the plantation. They say the party switched. I beg to differ, because the party of old is the same as the party today, talking about the Democrat Party. There's no way they switched. But wow, I just can't. It's amazing to me.
I mean, do you think as a population demographic, Black people have come around to Trump?
You wouldn't have seen this a long time. You wouldn't have seen this right here so much during his last administration. It was people like myself and people like a lot of other people with the Frederick Douglass Foundation that stood up for Trump. And then, we had to fight the church and everybody else because sometimes they don't like it when you don't think like they do. Here's the other thing. A lot of us thought we were alone and didn't want to speak out. Now, you feel a whole room full of Black people. And I get them every day because I'm one that speaks out. And I'll get someone walk up to me and say, man, I like Trump. What do you think? Or they'll say, what do you think about Donald Trump? I say, man, I love Trump. I say, hell.
Ramona.
They're trying to whisper on the down low to him. And he's like, oh, yeah, I love Trump, all loud. They're probably going, shh, don't say it so loud. Because for those of you who don't know, it is difficult for Black people to be a conservative, to admit that you vote Republican, especially if you're voting for Donald Trump. It is a difficult thing to admit because people come down hard on us. I mean, they really, really do. It's like, oh my gosh, can I not have a different opinion from you? Do I have to think just like you do? We're all different. We have our reasons. I vote my values, and God gave me a wake-up call. It took some divine intervention for me. It was totally divine. I mean, it really was.
Arroyo on Fox News said that he thinks that the Black voters that like Donald Trump are because he likes sneakers. That was Fox News
sneakers.
saying,
Oh, because he came out with those sneakers and he slapped it in the judge's face and he slapped it in the liberals' face because they want to charge him $350 million and he made that back in less than an hour on sneakers. No, that's a smart man. Okay, so they can say what they want to say, So no, it's not about that. Black America is tired of being prostituted. We're tired of being prostituted, tired of being lied to, tired of being manipulated, tired of having those doggy bones like he was telling you up there with the Black colleges, where every year you got to come back and beg for some money. Why didn't your Black president do that for you?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Why did our so-called first Black president, Barack Hussein Obama, who I did not vote for either time, proud to say that, the Lord showed me some things. Well, he told me one thing about Barack Obama. I'm not going to say what that was, but that's why I did not vote for him as soon as his face came across the screen. But yes, why did not our first Black president so-called do that? You know what? He said something similar to what Kamala Harris said. Barack Obama said he can't do anything just for Black people, and Kamala Harris said the same thing. But they did something just for the alphabet community, and in the Biden administration, just for immigrants, illegal immigrants, I might add. So they've done some things just for certain groups of people, and under Kamala Harris, I believe she did something just for Asians. That lets me know which part of her she values more than the other part. So that's for all these clefty lefty Black folks running around saying, I'm with her. Well, guess what? She's not with you. She's not with us. She always saying, that Kendrick Lamar song, they ain't like us. You, Kamala Harris, aren't like us, okay? Because you've proven that in your history, in your legislation, over and over and over again. I mean, people's Trump derangement syndrome is so significant that they can't see the forest for the trees. And just to let you know a little bit more about Donald Trump and what's going on social media platforms, it says right here, my man, Judge Joe Brown, said that Trump ain't no racist because he gave loans to Black entrepreneurs in the 80s and 90s and didn't accept the repayment when it was offered. If you all can see that here, he dated Black women at Black tie events, and he financed Jesse Jackson's 2 runs for president. What the kind of racist is that? Is Trump racist? And here it is right here.
Is Trump a racist? I don't think so. I've talked to a number of Black entrepreneurs who back in the late 80s and 90s, early 90s, were trying to get financing. They couldn't. Somebody told them to go check with Donald Trump. So they come back and tell me they got a loan from Donald Trump. He gave them a term loan, show up with the interest and the principal, one check, but they had to go see him first. They independently relate this tale that when they saw him, he said, "This what you supposed to pay me? This our agreement?" And yeah. And then tore the check up, shook their hands, and congratulations. Now run your business. He didn't have any problem with dating a Black woman, walking her down red carpets. Most people don't know this. He was the finance man behind Jesse Jackson's 2 runs for president.
Wow. So I think we've answered that question enough, because the media is just intent on making this man a racist. And you know why they do that? The Democrats love to project their own problems onto the other party because they're the actual racists. They're the ones that have a history of crime bills. They're the ones that have, not giving people the ability to have school choice so they can get their children out of failing schools. So we got to just think and not be afraid to speak out. I think there are a lot more Black people that are going to vote for Trump. I really, really do, but they are just not being vocal with it. I told you that there is some kind of stigma with being a conservative person, especially when you say you are going to vote for Donald Trump. There is stigma. I haven't been in a room yet with people, with anybody thinking like me. I haven't. Not unless it's where I go to worship. Then it's different. Then it's people who think like me. And then some of the Black people don't. So there is such a hold. I cannot explain the hold that's on Black people when it comes to the Democrat Party. It is insane. And like Vince Everett Ellison said, it's like Stockholm Syndrome. You have compassion for the person that is mistreating you. That's Stockholm Syndrome. They've had cases of women who've been beaten and raped and mistreated, and they end up taking up for the person that actually mistreated them against other people. So Black people, we are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome when it comes to the Democrat Party. It's really, really sad. We need to be freed. Only God can do it. Prayer warriors, get to praying. I wanted to share that with you all and just let you know that there is hope at the end of the day. I saw a beautiful rainbow in the sky. My youngest daughter, she said, "Mom, look, there's a rainbow." And it's so beautiful. And it reminded me of God's promises, which he always keeps. And I do believe that Donald Trump will be the 47th president of these United States of America, and that God is going to use him to bring about a revival. And it's going to be beautiful. The enemy is trying everything in his power to stop it. And I have a video that I am going to put out on, the 14th, August 14th, Wednesday, August 14th. I want you all to look out for it. I think I'm going to post it at 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern. That is Wednesday, August 14th. This is a pastor who wrote a book about Donald Trump, and it's called Trump the Great. And his name is Pastor Cliff McAnthony. His church is in Massachusetts. And I'm sorry, I got to look the name of his church up. He is the pastor of Holiness Revival Movement Worldwide in Massachusetts. Yes, that is Pastor Cliff McAnthony. And we had a long discussion, but it's a great discussion about Donald Trump, end times, the Bible, Christians today. And it was just a great discussion. Don't forget, Wednesday, August 14th at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'll be dropping that video. Well, thank you all so much for staying with me this long. I'm on my way to 50,000 subscribers. I am almost there. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America. And as I always say, march on, warriors.